Today we're doing Math 6, Mission 2, Lesson 7. Creating double number line diagrams. All right, here we go. Locate and label the following numbers on the number line. Okay, so we have 1/2, 1/4, 1 3/4, 1 5/10, and 1 75/100. Okay, so I have fraction, 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 decimal, decimal. So I'm going to change this decimal into a fraction because that makes it easier for me. So 1 5/10, I know 1 is a whole number, and then 5/10 is 5/10, but I can reduce that. 5 goes into 10 2 times, 5 goes into 5 1 time, so that can be 1/2. So that's 1.5. And then 1 75/100, that's 1, and then this is 75/100, okay? Because it goes out to the 100th place value. But I know I can reduce that. So that is actually, if you think about money, that's 3/4 out of 4 quarters to get us $1. So that's 3 out of 4 quarters is $1. So that's 3/4. All right, so now I can place them on my number line. This number line goes from 0 to 2. So 1 is going to be in the middle of that. So there's my 1, but I don't have a 1, so I'm not going to label it. All right, now let's look back here. Half. So half would be halfway between 0 and 1. So here's my half. And then 1/4, 1/4, is actually halfway between 0 and 1/2. So I'm going to label that one right there, 1/4. Then I have 1.5, 1.5, 1.5. That's going to be halfway between 1 and 2. So there's my 1.5. Now I changed it into 1.5, but when I write it on my number line, it needs to be 1.5 because that's how it originally came. Now I know that 1 3/4 is halfway between 1.5 and 2. So again, I'm going to draw here, and that's 1.75 or 1 75/100. And then I have 1 3/4. Look, 1 3/4 and 1 3/4. So I have labeled it. I can put 1 3/4 right there. And now I have done every single one. Based on where you place the numbers, locate and label 4 more fractions or decimals on the number line. You should go ahead and do that. It can be any you want. All right, keep going. Activity 1. We made green water by mixing 5 milliliters of blue water with 15 milliliters of yellow water. Use the double number line to answer the questions below. All right, here we go. 1. On the number line for blue water, here's blue, label the 4 tick marks shown. So this is a tick mark. Tick mark, tick mark, tick mark. If this tick mark is 0 and this one is 5 and this one is 10, let's count how many tick marks I have. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I can say I know this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 is already labeled. Okay, so 1 is done. On the number line for yellow water, okay, so here's yellow water. Draw and label the tick marks to show the amount of yellow water needed for each amount of blue water. Well, I just added tick marks to the blue. So now I have to do the tick marks to line up on my yellow, like this. Now I have 5 tick marks. I know because I counted on the blue. But these tick marks don't equal 1 because this one here is 15. So what I need to do is divide 15 by the number of tick marks I have. So 15 divided by 5 equals, 15 divided by 5 is 3. So every tick mark should equal 3 more than the previous. So that would get me 3, 6, 9, and 12. Because 3 times 2 is 6, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 4 is 12, 3 times 5 is 15. All right. How much yellow water should be used for 1 milliliter of blue water? Well, I go to the blue one. Here it is. And I go straight across to the yellow. So that gets me 3 milliliters of yellow. Circle where you can see this on the double number line. I already did that in the green, right? Okay. How much yellow water should be used for 11 milliliters of blue water? Ooh, do we have 11 on here? No, it would be over here, right? This would be 11. But I know how much is used for 1 milliliter of blue water. How would I get to 11? Well, 1 to 11, I multiply by 11. So what I do to one side, I'm going to do to the other. So 3 times 11 is 33. So I would need 33 milliliters of yellow water for 11 milliliters of blue water. How much yellow water should be used for 8 milliliters of blue water? Well, again, I don't have an 8 on here, but I know it'd be somewhere here, and I do have 1. So again, I'm going to do the same thing, only instead of multiplying by 11, I'm going to multiply by 8. So 1 times 8 is 8. 3 times 8 is, well, 3 times 8 is 24. So down here, how much yellow water? Well, I need to do 3 times 8, and that gets me 24 milliliters of yellow water. Why is it useful to know how much yellow water should be used with 1 milliliter of blue water? Well, just like I've done up here, if I know what 1 is, I can pretty much find everything else because I just multiply by what I need. So for instance, if I had 11, right? I just multiply how much yellow water is needed for 1 milliliter of blue water by 11 or by 8, right? So you can multiply, here's we go, you can multiply to figure out any amount. Of yellow water needed. For a given amount of blue water. That means, like, if I give you blue water is 8, then I can find any amount of yellow water. All right, activity 2. A recipe for art paste says for every 2 pints of water, mix 8 cups of flour. Answer the questions about the recipe below. So my original ratio is 2 pints of water to 8 cups of flour. That's water to flour. All right. Follow the instructions to draw a double number line diagram representing the recipe for art paste. Use a ruler to draw 2 parallel lines. Okay, here we go. Here's 1, and here's 2. Awesome. All right, done. Label the first line pints of water. Okay. Label the second line cups of flour. Done. Draw at least 6 equally spaced tick marks that line up on both sides. All right, here we go. Okay, there we go. I did one more. Along the water line, label the tick marks with the amount of water in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 batches of art paste. Okay, so I know that if I have 0 batches, I don't have any ingredients. So that is going to be 0 for both of them, for pints of water and cups of flour. Now, for one batch, they gave us for a batch, right? 2 pints of water, 8 cups of flour. So my next one is going to be 2 cups of water and 2 pints of water and 8 cups of flour. That's one batch. Now that I know one batch, I can get 2 batches, 3 batches, 4 batches, and 5 batches. Because if I know one batch, I can figure out anything else. All right, so to find 2 batches, I'm going to multiply my one batch numbers by 2. So 2 times 2 is, sorry about that. 2 times 2 is 4. 8 times 2 is 16. Do you see how that works? Okay, so now for 3 batches, I'm going to multiply my original ratio by 3. So 2 times 3 is 6, and 8 times 3 is 24. So that's 3 batches. For 4 batches, I multiply 2 times 4, which is 8, and 8 times 4, which is 32. Then for 5 batches, I multiply one batch, 2 times 5, which is 10, and 8 times 5, which is 40. Now, I have another tick mark, so I'm going to keep going. I'm going to multiply 2 times 6, which is 12, and 8 times 6, which is 48. Okay, so I have done both of these now. Compare your double number line. Yep, if you've got somebody to compare with, go for it. Next, use your double number line to answer these questions. All right, here we go. How much flour should be used with 10 pints of water? Well, I'm going to go find 10 pints of water. So I'm going to use the top number line. Here's 10, so I'm going to go straight across, and that gets me 40. Oh no, it jumped. Where am I? There I am. Ooh, I'm going to quickly fill this in so that we know what it is. This is pretty important. Go ahead and check to make sure you've written down the correct ones as well. I'm going to save that. All right, so how much flour should be used with 10 pints of water? Well, I'm going to go to 10, circle that on my water number line, and then I'm going to go straight across to my cups of flour number line and see that it says 40 cups. So how much flour? I need 40 cups. All right, how much water should be used with 24 cups of flour? So I'm going to find 24 on my flour number line and go straight across, and that gets me 6. So I need 6 pints of water. Okay, how much flour per pint of water does this recipe use? Per means for 1, right? Per pint of water, per 1 pint, okay? So it's really important to know what per means, okay? In our lesson summary, per means for each, okay? So per means for each. So I'm going to write that over here. For each, okay? So I don't have a per in pints of water. How much flour per pint of water? So we need 1 pint of water. So here's my 1. That's what we need. So how do I get from 2 to 1? Well, I divide 2 by itself. I divide 2 by 2 because 2 over 2 equals 1. Okay, so we divided by 2. So what do I have to do to 8? I have to divide 8 by 2 as well. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So how much flour per pint of water does this recipe use? It uses 4 cups of flour. Okay, Please review your lesson summary.